scenario for the Niners winning?
Scenario for the 49ers winning.
You're better at this than I am. Let me take a shot. They can run against Kansas City, and CMC has a big game.
Mhm.
Kansas City, its secondary is not as good as we think. Brock Purdy completes very quick, very clever passes over the middle, and they're able to march. The defense actually does better against the run than it did against the Lions. And I want to say, I don't use the previous game to predict this game. I feel every game is a new universe. It's a different team. It's a different week. So Niners win. They do better against Pacheco than you think. The wide receivers for the Kansas Cities are good. They're not as good as the Niners. The Niners are able to block them off, make them frustrated, all that kind of thing. And Kelsey doesn't have a runaway game like he had last weekend.
Yeah. I mean, watching the AFC Championship Ravens against the Chiefs, what baffled me what the Ravens did is they didn't really try to run the ball. They had their starting running back, Gus Edwards, I think had 22 yards on three carries. And Lamar Jackson didn't play well. He did not play well. He looked like the Lamar Jackson who lost a lot of playoff games when he was younger. And you figure maybe if the Ravens had given him a run game, they would have had a chance. They only lost by 7. So I don't know. Maybe Brock Purdy's better than Lamar Jackson. Maybe not. I don't think so. I think if you just try to drop back and beat the Chiefs by passing, you're going to lose. The Ravens just prove that. You got to run against them. And the Niners have the best running back in the league. And they just saw the Ravens lose this way. They just saw the Ravens lose with a one-dimensional offense. So I'm thinking the Niners will learn the lesson, lean on McCaffrey. They've been pacing him the past couple months. This is the last game of the season. Give him the ball as much as you freaking need to. That's how the Niners win. It's like, okay, you're going to hand off to Isaiah Pacheco. Okay, he's really good. We're going to hand off to Christian McCaffrey. He's better. If this is going to be a competition between which running back is better, we're going to win that competition.
I love it. I love what you're saying. Yeah. And if it were to become that kind of game, it would be, to use a Lions phrase, it would be a gritty, in the trenches, tough football game where every inch that you get matters. I love games like that. I do. I love games like that.
Me too. Now, it'll be a little bit different. Earlier, I was saying, Steve Wilks, you kind of concede the running game because you don't want Mahomes to beat you deep, so you play two deep safeties. I don't know how Spagnuolo is going to approach the Niners offense because I don't think you really play that way against Brock Purdy. I mean, Spagnuolo might want to load the box against Christian McCaffrey and dare Brock Purdy to beat him over the top in a Super Bowl, in which case that would be a whole different thing. I mean, the Niners may be forced to pass. It would be interesting to see if the game unfolds that way. How would you approach it if you were the Chiefs defensive coordinator?
I see. Iggy, you like Spagnuolo?
He's really good. He's been there a while. He did a great job against the Niners in the last Super Bowl.
Yeah. He's there are so many high quality defensive minds in that league.
There really are. Yeah.
I think for the Kansas City defense to work, they're going to really have to try to hurt. I don't mean disable, but put some pain onto the 49ers.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree. They did such a good job against Lamar Jackson. They pressured him and they covered his receivers so well. It'll be interesting to see if they can do that against the 49ers because the Browns could, and the Browns did a good job against Brock Purdy. Vegas expects this to be a lower scoring game. They have it like 24-23 Niners. I
could see it being a lower scoring game because there'd be so much running. I could see that.
Yes,
I do.
Absolutely.
I just want to make one comment about Lamar Jackson. He may win the MVP this year. I told you, I've never liked him as a quarterback. I like him as a threat and as a performer, but I don't like him passing in the pocket. I don't like him passing out of the pocket. If you said to me, we got a team of 10 good offensive guys, and now we need to have a quarterback, and your choice is Brock Purdy or Lamar Jackson, Iggy, I'd have to think hard about it. I wouldn't just say Lamar Jackson. I would have to really, really think about it to pick Lamar Jackson over Brock Purdy. I would.
I'd still take Lamar. It's interesting we're talking about game changer, like he has to be able to overcome the coach. Well, Lamar couldn't overcome Todd Monken. Todd Monken was awful. He just didn't run the ball. And I don't know, Lamar looked not like himself. He was indecisive. He was bad. He was bad, Lamar.
Yeah.
And so he wasn't a game changer. They scored 10 points. He made some plays.
Yeah.
He made some incredible plays in that game, but they scored 10 points.
Yeah.
How many quarterbacks can really overcome a bad coach? Like, as good as Josh Allen is, he's never been to the Super Bowl. You kind of need both.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Let's answer some super chats. We got some coming back to you, Sean. Wait just a second. Martin, fish and chips. How are we going to overcome the head coach in the Super Bowl?
Hi, fish and chips.
Hi, fish
You know
and chips.
what? We have to see if he can overcome himself. It couldn't hurt.
Couldn't hurt. Joe Crowell says, I have zero idea why the Niners are favorites. All of the things that Kansas City do well are the exact things that give SF fits. Thanks, Papa Cohn, for the optimistic scenario.
By the way, thank you. I'm surprised the Niners are favorites as well. I can't figure out why. Because the other teams are defending champs. Right, Iggy?
Yeah, like the Niners won 12 games in the regular season and the Chiefs won 11. And so that's why the Niners are favored. Like the Chiefs were dominant in the playoffs.
Yeah, and of all the teams, they had the hardest time. They had to play 3 times. They played at home against Miami, which is a good bunch. Then they had to go beat Buffalo and the Ravens on the road, and they did it. Wow. That's really impressive.
Right. And so let's come back to what I was saying earlier. We were talking about how impressive the Niners comebacks were in the first 2 rounds. And you said they were extremely impressive, and I agree. But at the same time, it's like, who was more impressive in the playoffs so far? The Niners, who had some really close games at home against teams they were favored to win by a lot against, or the Chiefs, who went on the road and dominated some really good quarterbacks?
I would say so far in the postseason, the degree of difficulty was higher for Kansas City, no question.
Jorgen 1990, we're colder than a summer night in outer Mission. Brock Bonte says, what's your favorite Oregon Pinot Noirs? Go Brock.
You know, I love Oregon Pinots, and I went last summer with my friend Eric Kimmel, the writer, to a bunch, but I forget the names.
He forgets the names.
I forgot the names.
The Gut Diver says, what up, Cohn's? Been watching since 2019. Missed the film reviews in the live where you went in on Craycraft. I leave for Navy boot camp Monday, so I can't watch the game. Hope these guys go win it. Well, I'll be in Vegas next week, and I'll try to do at least one food review. I don't know about a film review. Thank you, Gut Diver.